Sup, guys. We're here for the TheCouncilNetwork. Welcome to the Gotham Season 1 episode review, Better to Raid in Hell. Before we get started on this review, if you have yet to see the episode, it goes without saying we're going to be going to spoiler territory, so do not watch the review until you have enjoyed the episode, which I think should be on Hulu now. I'm not quite sure. Don't get promoted to say that. Secondly, Season 2 just came onto Netflix. Hype! So I will be doing an entire Season 2 review shortly. I just have a lot of other projects need to get out of the way shortly enough. And basically, I gotta order a new hard drive to have extra room for all the stuff. So, it feels good to be talking about Gotham. Now let's get it underway. So, Gordon works in a monster-ridden Gotham as a bounty hunter and seeks to find answers about Indian Hill escapees. That was the ending cliffhanger of Season 2, and that's where Season 3 begins about 6 months after, and why their powers appear to be killing them. Meanwhile, Bruce's doppelganger roams the streets, and Barbara and Tabitha open a new nightclub called The Sirens. I will say this much. There was a rumor going around that Bruce's doppelganger will be revealed to be Hush, like a very early beta Hush. And we know there was also the Jim Gordon who's running around, who's not Jim Gordon, who's like the doppelganger chameleon. So it's kind of crazy to say that both of those characters are going to be Hush. I don't believe they're going to be. I think they're going to be like the spiritual successor to them. The pre-spiritual successor, if we're going reverse about that. Also, we're going to have to talk about the promo for next week, because maybe it's just me, maybe there's some kind of speedster on the show now. Maybe the Speed Force is going to be introduced. I know that's far out there, and I shouldn't be saying that because this is the Gothamverse. They're not going to introduce Speed Force. They're not going to cross over with the Flash. But it looks like one of the Court of Owls, or the metahumans, it basically has some kind of speed power, and that is raising my eyebrow like, hey, is the Flash going to just randomly appear now? I don't think it's going to happen. We haven't seen Jerome. We know Jerome's probably going to come back at some point. I thought the episode was going to focus more on Mad Hatter because of the name. That's okay. And maybe the Jim Gordon that's running around is actually Clayface before he becomes Clayface. Also, it looks like we got Man-Bat and Killer Croc before they became like full-on versions of themselves. That's pretty cool. I mean, the Killer Croc thing, you saw the spines, but apparently he died. I don't think that's even going to stick. And the metahuman, or the guy who was basically mutated with the wings, is pretty much probably Man-Bat, and at some point we'll have a drawn-out storyline. The big thing that happened during the episode is that Poison Ivy is supposedly dead because her run-in with one of Fish Mooney's guys. So the reason why these guys are pretty much going after to get these pharmaceuticals is because they're trying to get everything they need to get Hugo Strange. You know, because Fish wants a whole damn army. I think that's going to lead into Jerome coming back from Season 2, because I'm telling you right now, that is our Joker. Because the Joker's backstory has never really been quite on point correct, because there's never been a correct version. The closest thing to a correct version has been The Killing Joke. So I think this is their version, and I think Barbara is pretty much their older version of Harley Quinn. Call me nuts, I just feel it. The Sirens name part of the club is a callback to Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, and in this case, Barbara and Tabitha's whole thing, so there's that as well. Also, anyone notice that Penguin is walking more with the cane, you know, getting more of that Penguin attitude that we know and love from him from the animated series and everything else? The only thing is, he doesn't have the weight, but that's okay. Maybe that's just because the main reason I've seen it. And it looks like Season 3, somewhere in the back half, we're going to have Gotham Meta-Human Task Force. We got that on The Flash. I think we're going to get it here. And something's telling me, because we see Jim going down the bounty hunter route, that obviously he's going to hit a really dark place this season. I don't think they're going to do what they did in Season 2, where they just go, you know what, we're going to do the same thing we did before and not do anything else, and just pretty much have him as, oh, you're not a cop anymore, you got to fight to be a cop again. I don't think we're going to see any of that. I think in reality we're probably going to see him become some kind of vigilante, more so than what he did in this episode, needless to say. Fish doing the whole, I got mind control powers. It gives me the heebie-jeebies, but at the same time, it makes sense because we saw it in season 3. It just grosses me out because it's Fish Mooney. I like how they kept everything in detail with her eye, being a replaced eye. If you saw, I think it was season 1, so that was also pretty cool. But the one thing that nagged me about the episode is that Bruce got kidnapped. Alfred got knocked out. And it's kind of like the same thing. It's what is going on with that security at Wayne? And we did get the core vows at the very end of the episode, leading into that effect of you want to watch the next episode. You don't want to wait for it. You want it now. I love that about this. I really do. But the Fish Mooney thing, I don't really know. There's so many story elements going on, and it kind of boggles my mind. I thought we were going to get a little bit more focused episode. And when I say that, I thought we'd get a little more character, driven on just the core vows or an Alice in Wonderland kind of based episode where it was focusing on one narrative and you had two stories going, which is the Bruce story and the whatever the side story was going to be for the week. I like this, but it kind of threw me off at the same time because now there's all these different elements to pick from. Selena's going off with Fish, and now we don't know if Selena's going to stay with Fish because she thinks that Poison Ivy's dead, and that metahuman that Fish has with her that pretty much is the reverse of the Fountain of Youth. That's crazy. I don't recall any rogue in the Batman gallery that has those powers. I do know there's Firefly running around. I do know we have pretty much a Man-Bat. We have Killer Croc, and Joker will be coming later in the season through Jeremy's revival. I think that's going to be a huge thing, and I don't think they're going to leave it until I don't think they're going to do it until mid-season finale, maybe even later. I don't really think they're going to pull the trigger on it. The big thing is that Fish is after. She wants an army to take over Gotham, and she wants them to be metahumans. And I gotta say, the conversation piece between Riddler and Penguin going back and forth was fantastic. And just the Riddler, Edward is turning more and more into the Riddler, and you see it, and he makes that little penguin, and they set up that Penguin and Riddler have been talking like 6 months while Riddler's in jail, and Riddler goes, you don't need to focus on the details, you need to focus on exactly what she wants. So I think Penguin's going to have some sort of thing to do. It looks like next week he's going to kill her again, kind of situation. I don't think it's going to happen, to be fair. I think what's probably going to happen is that we'll see her use her powers or whatnot, and obviously that's going to lead down the road that's not so great for her. If there's one thing I do want from this season in 100% seriousness is no freaking Barbara Keene turning into Harley Quinn. That's my deepest fear on this show. And I know the showrunners want to bring out the mythos of some of these villains, but it's just one of those things I'm just like, please don't do it, because Harley Quinn, she's like 20 and Joker's like 40. It doesn't make sense to kind of change certain elements up. I mean, we did see a pre-Bane, so that's pretty cool, but I think what they need to do is they need to focus on more characters like Hugo Strange, people like Hush, that can work in this whole Gotham whole thing, and just do, I would like to see the Scarecrow come back at some point, but he's technically not a metahuman. I think this whole season is pretty much going to be meta-heavy. Now, the thing is, and I do have to say this much, I think this season is opening up already, building off the back half of season 2, to basically be more comic book heavy and less of that, what I originally called season 1, which was more crime drama and whatnot, what they originally probably set out to do, and they're altering it, and we're seeing that mythos. The biggest thing that I think won't be handled into the very, very end of the season is going to be the Court of Owls, because this is huge. What they do with the Court of Owls is going to set the tone throughout the rest of Gotham. There's tons of ways they could build into it, and also I love the fact that Alfred got to fight a quote-unquote Talon of the Court of Owls, which is technically not it's a pre-date Talon. I'm okay with it. I thought it was done fine. I like the little, hidden blade and whatnot, and how he took Bruce, but now it's just kind of like, alright, what is the Court of Owls really after? That's going to be the biggest plot point to this entire season. That's my feeling on it, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. But honestly, I think that I'm probably going to be the guy who sounds off the beaten path of people saying this was a great episode. It was. I think it could have been better and stronger of an episode if it had focused a little bit more on certain narratives instead of just going, okay, we got like 20 characters, we need to get them all, into this episode. I think if they were mentioned and weren't shown as much, because you have that hour slot line that gets kind of cut down with commercials to about almost 45 minutes, it's a little bit harder to really get everything you want in the episode. Regardless, still a fantastic episode, and I am going to score it this time. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I would have probably given it an 8.5, but like I said, certain parts of the narrative with all the different, characters that they're trying to feature in, and it just sometimes felt very clustered. It was pretty much like watching an Arrow fight. Okay, it wasn't that bad. Let's not go down that route. We'll save that for when Arrow comes back on TV, because it's going to be a great thing. But for one thing, I just want to know more. Also, Rip Hugo Strange's assistant, she got murdered out by the reverse fountain of youth guy. I don't know what to really call him, so I just call him that. I'm interested as hell to see what they do with Hugo Strange, and hopefully they don't kill him. And I am very, very, very afraid if they ever do, blame Arrow, if they ever do, League of Assassins. If they do that route, oof, I don't think that could work on a show like Gotham. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more. And I will see you on the next one.